the Titans, the division is ours. I don't care what Houston did yesterday. They're going to go get their Letterman jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
Everybody's catching.
I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's Kush. I love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush. Cause I'm top shelf, I ain't got wealth. But I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet, then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere, you wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering, cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks. Can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep this shit popping like lip gloss. Get me pissed off and the whole squad point the red dots. Something like chicken pox, give me all what you got like it raw, shimmy y'all. Feeling like Tony Hawk, never stop, let it rock, better not get involved. Running a marathon and you a tourist. This my world, you a tourist. Fuck with the bullet, you get in the horns, I'm a tourist. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop.
Hey everyone, and just want to say welcome to the new Titans Fan Battle podcast being brought to you by the Fan Battle Sports Network. And everyone, make sure you go like the new Titans Fan Battle page on Facebook, follow us on X, subscribe on YouTube. We just launched the accounts this past week, so we're on our way to 100, trying to reach 100 on each platform right now. And wherever you're watching, hit us with some comments, help us out with the algorithm, share it, like it. We have a little bit of a new look here with the Titans podcast. I'll be the new host, Michael Newsom. And hopefully you've seen me around the group. If not, then watch for me. I'm in there pretty regular. But my co-host here, he hasn't been as active in the group. He's new to the group. So you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, man. I just want to say I appreciate you guys allowing me to come on, and it's an honor to be able to do this with Michael. Me and Michael have been friends for a long time. We talk about the Titans, and we've done it for a very long time. We both live in North Carolina, and I'm actually from Tennessee, and we just love the Titans, man. We love them. When we're up, when we're down, we get frustrated, but we're true Titans fans in and out, and we have a great time. So,
yeah, just like most Titans fans, we swear on Sunday afternoon we're never watching again and throwing everything away, and by Friday we can't wait for Sunday again. So.
Exactly. We already picked out how we know we're going to win the next game. Like, it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Except for this week, but we'll do predictions at the end. But we'll start out with a little bit of news around the league. Justin Jefferson placed on IR. So he's currently number 3 in yardage on the season. He actually came into that game number 1 in yardage on the season. Hate to see him go down in the middle of a historic season. They're saying the earliest he can come back is week 10.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's for for somebody like him at his caliber, that's horrible. It's horrible. I know I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was like, we were talking about players and stuff, and he was like, he felt like, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league, and he argues it heavily. And
He's got a good argument too.
Yeah, yeah, he does. He does. I always, I'm always like, nah, maybe Tyreek Hill, but Jefferson's a beast, man. And for them to lose him, that's horrible. That's horrible.
And preseason, Tyreek Hill said he was going to be the first to get to 2,000 yards on the season. Jefferson and Hill both entered Sunday on pace to top 2,000 yards.
That's crazy.
And the only reason Jefferson ain't on pace anymore is because he left the game early with the injury. Hill's still on pace for almost 2,300 yards this year if he can avoid a hamstring injury himself.
That's insane. That's insane.
The only silver lining I see with the injury is that it's not really going to impact the rest of the league. Like it sucks for him, for his historic pace, for his numbers, his career numbers. But the Vikings are 1-4, so this ain't really, whether he's in there or not, it ain't impacting the midseason playoff picture.
Right. That's true.
And the other big news affecting the Titans around the league is the first rematch of 2023 will happen on Sunday. It's Colts at Jags.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I said, the first rematch of the year, and the winner takes sole possession of the division. So how you see it playing out? You have any thoughts on the game?
It's a tough one because initially I would say Jaguars. They're solid. But after the way the Colts played us, Sunday, I have to give them credit. To come in with a backup quarterback and to finish out and to play like they did and to beat us the way that they did, I have to say they're a pretty strong team, and now they've got this 1-2 punch at running back with, I guess Taylor will be back active full blown in that game too, right? So
yeah, he's practiced all week so far, so he's going to be there.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. It's hard for me to just say the Jags, knowing that the Colts, have JT coming back and they have, Moss, man. I told somebody, I said, isn't it ironic that JT just signs his contract and Moss has the game of his life, man? Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, within 48 hours of paying JT, they find out why you don't pay running backs like that.
Exactly. And then Henry's making a case for paying running backs.
Yeah. Well, he's making a case with his mouth, not with his legs this season.
That's true. That's true. But we'll get into some of that in just a minute. But I'll provide an excuse for him.
So with this game, the first game, Jags won 31-21, so a 10-point win. But it's crazy how much a team can change within a month, because they got a new quarterback going to be starting this game. Instead of AR, they're going to have Minshew.
Yep.
The last game, their best running back was Deion Jackson, who had 14 yards and 1 yard per attempt. And now they have Moss and JT both back there.
Exactly.
And Pittman is looking like he's taken some strides this season as well so far. So, I mean, this is a completely different offense from week one.
Yep. And to be honest, I mean, I know they're excited about Richardson, but Minshew has the experience. So, they're not – it's not over for them, It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think even Colts fans would agree that AR's excitement is for the future. Like, they didn't come into this season expecting to win 12 or 13 games. Right. Minshew probably gives them a better chance of winning immediately, but you want to develop that young quarterback. That's the only reason he was on the bench.
Right. I agree. I think it's hard to do, but I think I would take the Colts in this game. For some reason, I feel like they're playing solid and they're pumped up. And, JT seems excited. He's ready to play. He's ready to prove that he's, worth that contract. And I think they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Colts 30-27 in this one. I don't trust the Colts defense. They let the Titans move the ball all over them, and we don't have the best offense right now.
That's true.
I do think the Jags move the ball offensively, but I think the Colts hang on to win it.
I agree. I think so too.
So speaking of the Colts, let's talk about Sunday.
Do we have to? That's what we're here for, ain't it?
It is. But let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it wasn't all bad. So give me something you saw that was good that gives you a little bit of hope.
So one thing, I'll give you two things that really did, give me that little bit of hope. And Ryan Tannehill, I know he threw the interception, but it seemed to be that he was throwing the ball a little bit better to me.
The interception was just desperation at the end in the last 30 seconds. That's like a Hail Mary interception, basically.
Yeah, basically like a punt, Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. So I know statistically it's there and there's no touchdowns. Yep. But a 264 yard, 23 for 34. To me, that's an improvement for him this year. And it's tough to have to say that, but that was a positive. And of course, another positive, most certainly I would have to say would be Hopkins. Hopkins definitely is showing that he still has a lot in the tank, and that everybody that was on the radio saying we were dumb for signing Hopkins they're going to have to eat that,
Yeah. And there was the main thing with Hopkins and Tannehill in this game that gave me hope going in, maybe not into this next game, but definitely into the bye week, and as they continue to develop chemistry together. If you watch the all 22s and some of the sky cams, Hopkins' route was leading him into coverage.
Yep.
And Tannehill's just a slight nod of the head, and he's shifting over 2 or 3 yards, and Tannehill's throwing him open.
Right in the hole. Yeah. It was incredible. You pointed out the zones when he would find that hole in the zone. And I was watching him, and Hopkins was doing something that I thought was great for him. When he was catching the ball and going to the ground, he knew that he had first downs. He knew that he had yardage, but he was actually protecting himself. And I was like, yay for Hopkins, because we don't need any more injuries, Oh,
yeah. At 31 years old, him fighting for an extra 5 yards isn't worth us being without him and Burks at the same time.
Exactly. I would rather see him catch 15 yards, catch 10 yards, and go out of bounds or go down than to try to worry about running it. Stay safe. We need you.
So for my good, I'm going to give it to the offensive line, because they didn't allow a sack in this game.
Right.
And there was a sack on the final drive, but Pro Football Focus did not attribute that to any offensive lineman or any tight end. They actually attributed it to Tannehill.
Right.
Basically, he had time and ran out of time, and nobody got open.
Right.
And so the offensive line, they pass protected great. Yeah. He had time the entire game, and that's part of the reason why Hopkins had such a day.
Yeah.
Then you go back to last week, they allowed 3 sacks, but that was a hell of an improvement to what they was doing the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And so they've slowly progressed. They're starting to gel together a little bit, and they've put together 2 solid games in a row.
Yeah, and you're right. The pass blocking was much better. I think the run blocking is still a little weak at times. It's weird. It's like Henry, 13 attempts, 43 yards. Him getting hit behind that first level so much is really bugging me, because I know that if Henry can get past the second level, he's a force. We all know that. I think everybody would agree, in the whole league. If when Henry makes it past that line, it's on. Watch out. and he's just not able to do that this year. And, you know, and me and you've discussed it. I think some of that too is play calling. You know, when when our offensive coordinator, we go out on first down and we're single back set and we're running it on first down. They know what's happening. You know, you can expect that. But if we can do a little bit better in the play calling area, I think that would help the offensive line and Henry. So I would really like to see that aspect change a little bit. But you're right. I have to say, I was bent out of shape about the offensive line. I've been worried about them. It's the totally different offensive line. We've got injuries. We've got men shifting around. They're struggling to get it set. But you are right. They did do a lot better in the pass protection. And I think Vrabel did say something about the right tackle staying.
MPF is the first man off the bench now. He said MPF doesn't get his job back.
So he's not getting it. So that's a good sign, though. It's a good sign that this guy came in and he's like, you're staying. You done your job. So I like that.
And Dillard at left tackle, he's been the Achilles heel of the whole team.
Yeah.
So last week, MPF in his first week back at practice, they worked him out all week at left tackle.
Right.
So to me, that's sending a message to Dillard. If he doesn't perform on Sunday against the Ravens, we have 2 weeks because the bye's coming up next.
Right.
So we got 2 weeks. We're going to get MPF at left tackle if Dillard doesn't turn it around, which against the Colts, he turned it around. He looked great.
He did. So like you're saying, if he can go in against the Ravens and not give up a sack, I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because personally, I think the Ravens defense is going to be a little bit different story than the Colts. But so
the Ravens have much better cornerbacks on their defense. Yeah,
exactly.
That's and that's the thing. The Colts played a lot of zone. And so, like we talked about, Hopkins is he's a veteran. He's going to find holes in that zone. He's going to face some man against the Ravens. And so now Burks is out. Hopkins, can he beat the man? And if he can't beat the man, how many sacks is Tannehill going to take?
What's the news on Phillips?
Phillips was back for the Colts game. The only reason we didn't see him is because he didn't have a ton of practice. So instead of Phillips, we got Nick Westbrook-Akine as the number 2. But Phillips was the punt returner. The problem is the Colts only punted one time the entire game.
Right.
So we didn't get to see him. But he is traveling with the team to London, so I'd expect to see him in the slot more in London.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is I would love to see Phillips back out there helping us in slot because Phillips has been fragile, but he has potential too. He has great potential to be a shifty, like a Westbrook or Julian Edelman kind of guy. But we got to get him healthy first.
Hitch a 5-yard slant and take it 40 yards for us.
Yeah, he's quick.
But what's your bad something you saw just bad for the Colts game that has you worried going forward?
The defense. And I mean the defense. It's crazy because
defense as a whole.
Yeah, the defense as a whole. I could point out specific things that I'd noticed, but that's not us. And whatever happened Sunday is not Titans football, even when our defense isn't great. And they just did not play with energy. They didn't look the same. That big run, and they didn't play smart. That like the big run that Moss, had, and everybody was cheated down. And I really do blame Byard for that touchdown because
he was way out of position.
Yeah, and I understand what he was doing because he had the linebacker beside him on his right, and he was expecting the linebacker to go to the right on that side. But he just got blocked, and Byard wasn't back enough, to cut Moss off there. And, that's a simple mistake. I mean, it's one of those things that happens. But as a veteran, we need you to make those plays, And it wasn't just him. I mean, we had the cornerback issue with Fulton. And our interior defense, I don't know what happened, So I think as a whole, I would say that the defense bothered me a lot to allow the Colts to do what they did.
Yeah, for me, I'd have to say just untimely penalties.
That too, yeah.
We had Henry actually starting to build some momentum. He had a couple runs in the third quarter, and then he breaks one off for like 15 or 18 yards on 1st and 10.
Yep.
Gives us a first down in Colts territory, called back on a hold, 1st and 20,
Yep.
and now Henry's on the sidelines.
Yep.
And so just when he's starting to build some momentum, you get a penalty that just cuts your own throat. Then, I mean, we don't even have to talk about 3rd and 12 at the end of the game with Fulton, and he gets the pass interference and basically takes any chance we had of, we was going to get the ball back with 4:15 on the clock, and we got it back with less than a minute on the clock.
Right.
Because of that one penalty. And what makes that penalty so frustrating, though, is we ran an inverted coverage on that play. So we was trying to pull Minshew. Hooker came down from safety and was underneath on that route in the flat. Byard came down from safety and was playing center field at the sticks. So Fulton is the deepest man on the field. He's playing safety on that play. And it's 3rd and 12, and it's a 10-yard out route with help underneath with Hooker. There's no reason for you to crash down. Like, you're the deepest man on the field. You have to stay deeper than that wide receiver.
That's true.
And he bites on the out and lets him run right up the sidelines.
That's very true. You've got to know that your safeties have cheated up, and that you're the deep man. So you got to know that. That's true. That's very true. Great observation.
Yeah. So what about just ugly? Like, you're wondering if we can even recover from something this terrible.
That I'm worried. I guess I would say our run game. Our run game.
It's been a struggle.
I see our pass game. Our pass game. We're Titans fans. We've never had a pass game. I mean, really. So
we're running the same offense Eddie George ran in '99. So.
Yeah, we've always been that ground and pound team, and we rely on it. And we had 89 rushing yards total, and they had 193. And we normally win football games through time of possession, and they beat us in time of possession. And a lot of that is normally because of our running game. And although we've done a little bit better in the passing game, me and you talk about it all the time. We win games when we run and run well. And it has been rough. It's been a rough season for our running game.
And I'm going to go same theme on the other side of the ball. It's been almost a season and a half since we allowed a 100-yard rusher, and then we allow 195 yards rushing.
Exactly.
And Tierra Tart, the big excuse we've all come up with is, we allowed all these rushing yards because Tierra Tart was out. Well, he hasn't practiced yet this week. He traveled with the team to London, so maybe he practices tomorrow. They're about to touch down here in a couple hours in London. Maybe he practices tomorrow and plays, but I would be shocked if he does. He's not practiced all week. So
yeah, and that if Tierra Tart alone is the reason, it scares me, especially going up against the Ravens. I mean, their quarterback has the ability to just eat us up. Lamar could just go crazy up that middle running.
I mean, the whole team, they're arguably the most complete rushing team in the NFL.
So. That's exactly right. So that's scary. So you're right, especially for this week. This week's got me worried about that run defense.
Yeah. So we touched on Fulton. Do you see, you see any solution there? What's the options you see how to fix this?
I think so. I like Fulton. Fulton has, as we've discussed, he's got talent. He's got he's physical enough. He's got, he's a good corner. I think he might need some coaching. That's all I know to say for Fulton, because there's little things like that I blame coaching. For instance, our run game and offense, I blame some of this on coaching, because, why are we pulling Henry off the field so much on short yardage and stuff? And it's killing me. It's blowing my mind, because if you got Henry on the field on a 3rd down and 3, and you have the option to hand it to Henry, and the defense has no idea Henry's out there. We've got to account for Henry. You have the option to hand it to him. You have the play action, and even Henry is great in the screen. And I blame all that on coaching. So I guess a cornerback coach could help him. I really don't know. I believe in Fulton. I think Fulton is a good corner, but there's something hindering his ability to learn. Just like you said a while ago, when your safeties are cheated up, you play back, and let them be the ones that take care of the under for you. And so I think you kind of hit the nail on the head for me, a while ago on that. You're right. I mean, just simple mistakes, and that could be through coaching or a little bit of experience.
Yeah, and as far as coaching, like we fired Anthony Midget in the offseason and signed Chris Harris. Chris Harris came in to be our defensive back coach, and we had to work really hard to get him because he had defensive coordinator offers on the college level.
Right.
And so he could have taken that path and progressed towards a head coach. He chose to come here, and for us to work that hard and recruit that hard to get him, like, they've got some faith in him. I'm sure he's a good coach, but he's also only had a few months with Fulton.
Right.
Him up. So that's and people want to bench Fulton. And my problem with that, next man up is Trey Avery. And Trey Avery started week 2 against the Chargers, and he gave up 12 receptions on 15 targets for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 137 passer rating against him. Fulton so far this season in 4 starts has given up 14 receptions on 18 targets. He's still given up way too high of a percentage, but Avery gave up in one game what Fulton's given up in a month.
Right. Yeah. So, I definitely don't see benching Fulton. That's not in the options. Not in my opinion.
And then the second option is a trade, but we're not going to give up a first in midseason.
Right.
And we don't have a third. So all we have to trade with is a second. And who's going to give up a premier corner for a second round pick? Unless we dip into 2025 draft picks, which then we're going down the same road that John Robinson had us down, that we just now, we're almost out of that hole that he dug us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's been a battle, and and this can go for every team, but especially for us concerning our offensive line and stuff like that. The way that they do the preseason now in the season, we didn't have our starters didn't play together until week 1.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that all around the league. Quarterbacks are struggling, and so it's been a rocky start to an NFL season for a lot of teams. So it's not just us.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I think it gets better after the bye. I mean, we've got the Falcons, we've got the Panthers, we've got the Texans twice, which those are not automatic wins, but we're at least going to be competitive. We're probably not split with them. We might sweep them, but I don't see us getting swept by them this year. We got the rematch with the Colts, which we can't wait for that game.
Yeah.
Like we got the Steelers, who have a worse offense than we have, but we're going to have chances to win some games after the bye week.
Yeah.
So the schedule lightens up a little bit.
And to the Texans fans, you know, y'all CJ, he's playing really well.
Oh yeah,
he's playing really well. He's doing his thing, man. Y'all might have a dime there. You know,
yeah, I thought him coming in, I expected 3 or 4 wins this year, then 6 or 7 wins next year, and then Texans are competitive within the division after that.
kind of like a progression. Like he's getting they're building around him. He's getting the feel for things.
But I think he's a year ahead of the progression I thought he was on. I think they may be like a 7 win team this year.
Yeah, it's shocking me. He's playing really good football.
Yep.
He's looking really good out there. And with that, I mean, I know with that being said, then you know, to the Indy fans, I hate that Richardson went down. I mean, that's a horrible thing for, you know, you got Stroud and Richardson, and we want to see what these guys are made of, and we don't want to see them down. None of them.
No.
And you know, we got some young quarterbacks in our division, and you know, we got a couple of young ones that, you know, we might be seeing before the year's over.
Yeah.
So we might be eating mayonnaise together on the
Well, I mean, if we took a spoonful of mayonnaise every time Tannehill threw a touchdown, we'd still have a full jar right now.
We wouldn't have to worry about it, would we? Yeah, that's tough.
But let's move on ahead and look at this Ravens game. So we got the 9:30 game, London time. So gonna be screaming and shouting and drinking and eating mayonnaise pretty early this Sunday. So
going crazy on them. Yeah, I'm excited about this game. I really am, because I personally think, and you know, as a Titans fan, I'm going to be optimistic, but I think the Ravens are looking at us and they're taking us lightly. I think they're going to look at us and say they're just not the same team as they was. You know, and if they play off a little bit, we might shock them. So we have that ability. We're one of those teams, and we always have that. We can beat a team that's 16-0, 15-0, and lose to a team that's 1-15.
Yep.
That's who we are. You know, we can if we can get in there and establish a run game, we can beat anybody.
We're so focused on keeping every game competitive that sometimes we lose the games that's easy wins.
Exactly. Because we try to keep it competitive because we feel like at the end we can overcome that. And that's right. We make a little simple mistake and lose.
Yep.
So I'm excited.
OBJ says this is his get right game. Like, he saw what Fulton did against the Colts, and I think he has said he thinks that this is like he's back. This is the game he establishes himself this season.
Yeah.
And if that's the way he feels, go to Harbaugh and demand to be on the left side of the offensive formation every play, because we don't flip corners. Fulton's going to be over there giving you those opportunities. So.
Right. And that's, you know, it could be an interesting matchup because it is a game that Fulton has an opportunity to show everybody, like, I've made some mistakes, but I'm Christian Fulton. I'm a good cornerback, and I'm going to show y'all this Sunday. And he has that ability.
Well, and I mean, it's not Patrick Mahomes that's going to be throwing at him either. Lamar he's showed some improvement, but I mean, he's not the best passer in the league. He'll give you an opportunity or two.
Exactly. And Odell is Odell. You know, he's not the same Odell as he was, you know, 5 years ago.
Not 23 no more.
Yeah, exactly.
And as their wide receivers talking about getting right, their wide receivers getting in bed right about now, because he ain't even going to London with the team. So Burks is out again this week with a knee injury.
I think I'm going to bounce off of, we were talking about the good the bad, and the ugly. And I think I'm going to bounce off of that for this game. And, there is one thing that we haven't really hit on yet about our team that really does worry me, and that's tight ends.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where we need Chig to play football. We need him to block. We need him to catch. We need him to be prepared to take an ice bath when he gets home. We need you.
You look at last season, we had Hooper all the way up through Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Yep.
And in December, Chig showed up and finished damn near with better numbers than what Hooper did for 3 months.
Exactly.
And so we all had these huge pie in the sky hopes that he's the next Delaney Walker.
Yep.
And he's going to come out and be dynamic this season. And he's dropping, I think he's got 4 or 5 drops. So he's dropping like 1 out of every 3 or 4 balls that's been thrown his way. He doesn't have any touchdowns, no yardage to speak of. You're right. It's time for him to announce he's arrived in 2023, because if not, then when's he going to do it this year?
Yeah, and that is a worry for me in this game, because I know when it comes to the Ravens, that's one of those games where you need tight ends, because like you said earlier, they've got corners, and they may shut our wide receivers down. And that's where you're going to use that screenplay and, your tight end to check it down. And it's crazy as Chig is athletic. Like, he's getting open. He is dropping wide open passes. I mean, the guy is very athletic, and his ability to get open as a tight end is insane. If he makes some of these catches, we don't lose. No. Let's face it.
He makes the catches, and we're converting 3 or 4 more first downs a game. We're keeping drives alive.
Exactly. So I think that's people talk about the trades. That might be something that I haven't even really seen a lot of people in the groups talk about it recently, but if there's a trade that could happen that would help us, it might be a tight end.
Might be. I mean, if Chig ain't going to do nothing this game, this is week 6, so we got 2 weeks after Sunday to make a trade. And we're 8th in the NFL in salary cap, so we're in a position to make a move at the trade deadline if we see something out there that's going to help us in the second half of the season.
Right. And that's, and if the thing is if we're not going to trade Tannehill, and I think most all of us that have the football common sense knows, if we want to win this season, Tannehill's that guy. Period. Yeah. We're not going to put Willis in and Levis in and win. And, it might bring a spark, but we're not going postseason deep. We know that. Nah. And common sense tells us that Tannehill is the experience. He's had great stints of great football for us, and he's the guy. So if we feel like this team with Hopkins, when Burks comes back, if we feel like that, if we, like you were saying, if our offensive line continues to progress and we can get Henry going, and we feel like this is a team that can win, a tight end may be that missing piece on the offense.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially in a game like this on Sunday, remember the playoff game when we beat the Ravens in their home. It was Jonnu Smith that put us in the lead in that game. Yep. And if we don't have that lead, we can't feed Henry every doggone play like we did and get him 200 yards.
Yep. And in the year that we played them in the playoffs, and they beat us by the field goal, the clock ran out before they kicked the field goal. I was live
at that game.
Yeah, that clock hit 0 before they kicked it. We got messed up again on that one. That was Bo Scaife, right? It was Bo Scaife and them guys, man. They were, it was another one of those pounding, ball on the ground, old school football games.
Yeah, that was Chris Johnson, CJ2K's rookie year, and they broke his ankle in the first quarter.
Yeah,
he was going off. He had like 40 yards in that game and broke his ankle in the first quarter. He was up for a big day.
Yep. That was a game that I feel like was taken from us, but we're not going to harp. But we know when we play the Ravens, we know that a tight end is very important for us.
Well, and an interesting stat for this game: when the Titans and the Ravens play each other, the away team has won 75% of the games.
Wow,
So
I did not know that.
What happens on a neutral field? So we're both away. So is this a tie ball game?
That's an impressive stat. I didn't know that. That's kind of you would think that would be in reverse.
Yeah. And I didn't look the stat up. I'm quoting 104.5 The Zone out of Nashville. They said that the away teams won 11 of 17 games in this series. So
11 of 17.
But the next thing that I was wanting you to address, we talked about the rush defense. I mean, the Colts ain't exactly the top rushing team in the league, and we made them look like they were. And the Ravens may very well be the top rushing team in the league.
Right.
Can we turn it around? And again, Tierra Tart ain't practicing. So what happens if he doesn't play in this game?
I have no doubt that with Simmons, and Al, and Gibbons, and these guys, I trust them. I trust in Autry. I trust in what we have. So I think we can stop their run as far as their running back. That's what I'm not as concerned about the running back as much as I am Lamar. I think this is one of those games where Lamar could actually go crazy.
Yeah, and the thing that scares me about Lamar going crazy, if I had to pick a player that we're going to put on a spy on him for the entire game, someone that can athletically keep up with him, that we're not going to put or starting corner or somebody on him.
Right.
We're going to have to find a bench player to put on him. And I would have chosen Elijah Molden.
Yeah.
And he didn't get on the plane today. He stayed in Nashville. So
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so I'm not sure who's next off the bench, because you're going to have to spy him. Somebody's going to have to track Lamar the entire game.
Every play. Because the play that you don't, he drops back, he's going to chew you up. Yep. You have to account for Lamar. So that I worry more about that than I do their running back. I know Moss chewed us up, but I think our team is going to be so focused on not letting that happen this week that we're going to be more subject to giving up passing yardage and Lamar running.
Yeah, and that the last game that we played the Ravens in the regular season, which was in Baltimore, and we stopped them 3 times on 4th and 1, twice with Jeffrey Simmons wrapping him up behind the line on a QB sneak.
Right.
And one of them, Jeffrey Simmons forced a fumble on. So,
yep.
I mean, we don't have Tierra Tart, but Jeffrey Simmons is still there. So that's a big man to be pushing backwards.
He's still one of the best in the league. And when he's there, when he's on the field, watch out. And I want to pull in. I know we got to move forward a little bit here, but I do want to pull in one more good that I have to bring out, because I think it's imperative that I do. And I think every Titans fan, especially, should be thankful for Nick Folk, bro. I was a little torn about that, because we traded a pick when we could have picked up someone, but Nick Folk's been consistent, and he's been consistent enough to be worth a 7th round draft pick, no doubt. So that's something that we can all be happy about. We're not missing field goals like we were.
Yeah, he's made, I think, 3 or 4 50-plus yard field goals. The first one I was nervous on. It cleared easily and right down the middle. It's the next ones I wasn't. It's been a long time as a Titans fan since I saw a 53-yard field goal be lined up and I wasn't biting my nails as it was being snapped.
Yep. And he scored 10 of our 16 points. So that's worth a 7th-round draft pick all day.
Week 1, he scored 15 of her 15 points and almost won the game for us.
And almost won the game single-handedly. So, and that's, that's the thing, that we talk about. And I know we talked about the defense. And that's just because we're used to it. But the truth of the matter is we need to get in the end zone. We've got to find that end zone, man. This is
1-4 on Sunday.
Yep. This game, if we don't find the end zone, we don't win. We don't win this game with field goals.
I agree. And that leads us right into our final point. Predictions. What's going to
happen? Oh, me. Well, I'm definitely going to be biased. I'm going to pick us, of course. I don't know that I ever wouldn't unless it's an obvious and I just going to be like, hey, I'm going to pick us, but we're going to lose. But I really feel like this is a turnaround. I mean, Vrabel's a good coach. I know you see people talking about Vrabel and stuff.
Vrabel ain't going nowhere.
No, they need to calm down. Vrabel has been way too good for us. Vrabel's incredible. So Vrabel's a good coach. I think Vrabel knows how to coach a team into bouncing back. Hey guys, it's a loss, whatever. The season's not over. All we have to do is win. That's it. And so I think a team that goes into that to this game, a Titans team that goes in with a chip on their shoulder, and if we can get that, if we can win in the trenches, if we can win in the trenches Sunday, offense and defense, we win this game. I think it's a low-scoring game, like, maybe 17-14. I think that could be a very low-scoring game. So we'll see. And it could be a big-time game. It could be they score and we score. But I feel like it's Titans and Ravens. It's like Titans and Steelers. It's like Ravens and Steelers. It's there's no love lost.
It's a fourth quarter field goal to win the game, basically.
Yeah, and it's funny we're saying that because as Titans fans, especially me, I get more excited about playing the Ravens and the Steelers than I do the Colts, the Jags, or the Texans because we have more bad blood with them than we do with our own division.
To me, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns, those are still divisional games because I still hang on to that AFC Central.
Exactly. Division. Exactly. And when we play them, it's tough, man. It hurts. It beats us up. I mean,
absolutely.
It's a tough game. But I really think we go in there with a chip on our shoulder and we win this game.
If we win the trenches, I agree with you 100%.
The trenches is exactly.
But my problem is that the Ravens have a better defensive line than the Colts, and the Colts pushed us around in the running game on defense all day. They got a better offensive line than the Colts, and the Colts opened up 195 yards worth of holes on us.
They did. That's scary.
I think everything the Colts done well to beat us, the Ravens do those same things, only better.
Yeah.
And so on the Monday podcast, the AFC South Battle podcast, I predicted us to lose 24-13. And I'll stick with it. I think we lose 24-13. But I think that we may even have a 13-10 lead going into the fourth quarter. And we just find a way to lose it because we can't control those trenches.
I can see that. And that's why I said, I was very adamant because I'm picking us barring us winning in the trenches. Because if we don't win in the trenches, it's not going to be good.
No, you can't lose especially Jeffrey Simmons and the front seven. Exactly. They can't lose against this offensive line and expect it to even be a close game at the end.
Nope.
Like, we'll have no chance if they don't at least hold their own against this offensive line.
Yep. I would like to see Simmons and Al and Landry and them guys. I would like to see them get their hands on Lamar quickly, real quickly. Shake him up early, you know, and remind him that we are the Tennessee Titans. We don't like you. You know, this is us, you know. And so I think if they can do that and win in the trenches, it's going to help. I think we can win the game if we win in the trenches. But that's, you know,
that's the key to the game on either side. Whoever wins the trenches is winning this game.
Exactly. And it's been that way since the eons of time, ain't it? Against them. Them and the Steelers, man. It's always been a battle.
But I think that'll do it for this edition of the Titans Fan Battle podcast. And again, everyone remember Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, Titans Fan Battle podcast. Give us a like. The Sports Fan Battle podcast, the network, give us all likes, comments, help us out with the algorithms. And but where can we find Lil Pickle at? Where are you hanging out these days?
Yeah, just go to my YouTube and type in Lil Pickle 252 and you'll see my YouTube channel. I do a lot of fun stuff and reviews, and I do goofy stuff. I make beats. I just do everything. I like to have fun. So I like to keep it interesting. You never know what I'm going to put on my YouTube.
Yeah, I can testify to that. You know, he'll surprise you. So, but you can find me on X, Titans W Order, the Titans Fan Battle podcast on all platforms. Just search us out. Like I said, like, follow, subscribe, help us out. I've got a new article coming out on the website, so the Sports Fan Battle website. So check me out there. If it don't come out tomorrow night, it'll be Saturday morning. But if you follow the page, that's the first place that it's going to get shared. So you're going to get a notification. You're going to know about it. But until next time, everyone keep it Mayo, and we'll see you in London early morning Sunday.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having us. It's been a great time. And Michael, it's been fun, bro. Appreciate you having me up here, man. It's awesome. You guys are great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See you guys.